No Tux No Bucks. Here we go. Hey everyone, what's happening? I was having a conversation with somebody from the No Tux No Bucks crowd. And if you're not sure what No Tux No Bucks is, it's a phrase used by hardcore GNU Linux or Tux users who only buy software, games in particular, normally, which runs on GNU Linux natively. Now, there are many ways I can go about addressing this, but I agree with Matt on Dark One Linux, and I'm going to let him say it.
End of the day, this is how I view Linux support. I don't care how it's there. If I can run it on Linux, I'll support it.
Now, I'm not a big fan of the No Tux No Bucks crowd because I'm not really into extremism and extremist philosophies. Now, I totally agree. If I can get it to run on Linux, I don't care how. And just because it's not a native executable, or I have to run it through conversion layers or compatibility layers, etc. Really, as long as I can get it working and working well, I really don't care how I can get it working. As a matter of fact, Proton is amazing technology. And the thing is, these people who think this way, they're only hurting themselves. As a matter of fact, they were saying, there's so many games I don't get to play because they don't have native Linux support. And then I mentioned Proton and running in Proton. I go, no, I don't do that. It's stupid. The only person you're hurting is yourself when you think that way. I mean, there's an amazing tool out there that can help you run those games. And normally, I would say about 80% of games now run on Proton in one way or another. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's jump over to my Steam library right here. And because, okay, now Abyss Odyssey, I believe, has a native Linux port. Alien Breed, I believe, works just fine, at least last I checked. Let's see. Arc has native Linux ports. Arma 1 and Arma 2 do not work. Arma Tactics here does, because that has a native Linux port. Borderlands 2 has a native Linux port, and so does the pre-sequel. Borderlands 1, both of these, they work great in Proton. No tweaks. Let's see, Bulletstorm, native Windows game. Works just fine in Proton. Call of Duty Black Ops does not work. Dead Island, last I knew, worked just fine. Those have native Linux ports. Duke Nukem Forever works fine in Proton. Dungeon Defenders works fine in Proton. These Fallout games, all of them, work fine in Proton, just no tweaks whatsoever. Fallout 4 runs at 60 frames a second on my machine. Let's see, Far Cry 3, you have to do some weird stuff, but you can get it to work. Maybe not well, but you can get it to work. Galactic Civilizations 1 does not work. Galactic Civilizations 3 does work with a little bit of configuration. Native Linux, Gems of War works. Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, San Andreas and Vice City, those all work fine in Proton. Grim Dawn, actually, you used to have to configure the crap out of Grim Dawn, but it did work. But now, since the release of D9VK, because it's a DirectX 9 game, it works fine, no configuration whatsoever. 60 frames a second on my machine, and I have pretty decent hardware right now, at least. Native Linux, okay, but we're just talking about that. Jade Empire, great in Proton. Let's see. Let's find another one. Left 4 Dead does not work. The first one does not work in Proton whatsoever. But the thing is, Left 4 Dead does, and they ported Left 4 Dead 1 in and included it in Left 4 Dead 2. So Valve actually did a great job to support Linux on that. And because Left 4 Dead 1 is in Left 4 Dead 2, they have no plans on adjusting Left 4 Dead 1. But I am fine with that. Trails in the Sky, Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky 1, great in Proton. Native Linux games, except for Magic Duels, which works fine in Proton. Mortal Kombat games, fine in Proton. Need for Speed Undercover, fine in Proton, no configuration for any of those. Path of Exile used to be really hard to get running in Linux, but now it isn't. It works fine, no configuration. Paladins does not work, it has easy anti-cheat. Plague Inc. is a native Linux game. Project High-Rise, not sure about. I'll look it up in the database, but I'm pretty sure it probably does. Rocket League. Now, I did a video yesterday about it, like I mentioned. Works fine in Proton, 60 frames a second, even though it doesn't have its native Linux port up to date anymore. Let's see. Civilization 4, fine in Proton, all of them. Civilization 5 and 6 are both native. Smite does not work in Proton because of easy anti-cheat. Let's see. Sonic Adventure, both of them, they both work in Proton. Spore works fine in Proton, great. 30 frames a second, but that's what it's capped at. Now, I think I've made my point about Proton and how good it is as far as running games in Linux. I don't give a crap if I have to use Proton to get it to work. Why would I care? And matter of fact, Proton opened up so many games that we wouldn't have been able to play. And these people are just like, well, it's not designed to run Linux. So what? I mean, I know of several developers out there that have literally said, we make adjustments so it works in Proton. Now, the reason why they don't port natively to Linux is because it costs money. And let's face it, Windows is a popular gaming operating system. That's what they're going to develop for. But the fact of the matter is, some of them code in Vulkan to make it easier for us. Some of them code in just OpenGL to make it easier for us on purpose. What else can we ask for? We have an amazing tool. We have developers trying to get it to run inside that tool. So, no Tux No Bucks, crowd. It's time to stop. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's what that thumbs down button is for. And go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you like my content and wish to support my work, you can do so on Patreon. The link is in the description. Also, if you wish to see more, check out the videos on your screen.